Hello everyone. Welcome to Bosnia. Don, it's very good to see you again.
You're looking younger than I saw you last.
Not only looking, feeling younger. Hello Mojca.
Pozdrav, poštovanje.
Good to have you here with your group. So we have the group from the Gong Caravan of Peace for the fourth, fifth time?
For sure, I would say it's fifth time.
Fifth time. I'm glad that you come here and share your energy with our place. We have our volunteers from this group. Thank you very much for helping and supporting. We have a group from Slovakia, right, Jan? Yes. And few more visitors. I thank you very much. My name is Dr. Sam Osmanagich. And 18 years back, in 2005, I started the Bosnian Pyramid Project. In the meantime, it has become the most active archaeological site. And not only that, the discovery of the first European pyramids, the biggest on the planet, the oldest on the planet, the most extensive underground prehistorical tunnel network with 6 entrances discovered so far, in archaeological sense, has changed the history as we know it. They've been teaching us that the human civilization started development back 5,000 years ago with Sumerians, Babylon, Akkad, Assyria, Hittites, ancient Egypt, India and China. And that's wrong. Just the last civilization cycle is about 11,500 years old, since the era of the end of the last ice age. But even before that, we had another cycle which finished 18,500 years ago, and another one 34,000, and another one 55,000, and another one 75,000 years back. We would have huge global catastrophes that would destroy what was achieved until then. And then humanity had to start from the beginning. Every catastrophe meant death of 99% of humanity. In the schools they teach us that our history is the evolution, and that would be wrong. Our history is a cycle after cycle after cycle. Humanity reaches the peaks, and then after the catastrophe, we had to start all over. The problem with our civilization is that we think that we are the first one, the most intelligent, the most technologically advanced, and the most beautiful. And that would be wrong. When the next catastrophe hits, and if it is the matter of our mother planet, it would be just in a couple of 100 years. If it is up to us, whether it is nuclear warfare, chemical weaponry, biological weapons, or AI, artificial intelligence. Once we are gone, those who survived, less than 1%, when they start new, they will think that they are the first one and the most intelligent one. And they're going to be making the same mistakes like we do. Once we realize that we are just one of the civilizations appeared on this planet, and not the only one. There are many more in the past, of this earth and out of this earth. and there will be many after we are long gone, then it would be easier for us to receive the knowledge from the past and apply it in our society. The case of the Bosnian pyramid is an excellent example for this story. There are still people skeptical, negating, saying there are no pyramids in Bosnia. Instead of wasting their time, why don't we learn about the ancients and try to apply their knowledge in our society? Because what they did with, in this case, pyramid structures, in other cases with megalithic structures on all 6 continents, is really amazing. Unfortunately, archaeologists, Egyptologists, geologists, historians teach us that majority of those sites were built for the dead bodies. They are saying the pyramids in Egypt were built as tombs for the pharaohs. According to the non-scientific Wikipedia or non-scientific Encyclopedia Britannica or non-scientific Smithsonian, there are 118 pyramids on Egyptian soil. Wrong. There are 155. I visited and researched all of them. There is not a single mummy in those pyramids. Mummies were buried in the Valley of Kings, which is 600 kilometers to the south from the Giza Plateau. In Thebes, in Memphis, in Abydos, in Dendera. But the pyramids, well, that's another story. Archaeologists in Egypt jealously guard their structures from the real scientists, physicists, electrical engineers, sound engineers, telecommunication engineers, medical doctors, people who would be using their scientific instruments to prove the real purpose of Egyptian pyramids. Unlike them, we are the most open archaeological project on the planet. No secrets, no confidential information. And basically from the day one we have opened the project for experts from different fields. Classical sciences like archaeology, geology, paleontology, biology, history. High-tech, satellite, geothermal, georadar, energy experts, engineers, physicists, medical experts, and spiritual scientists. And thanks to such interdisciplinary approach, this is what we've concluded. In the Visoko Valley, we have at least 6 preserved pyramids. We named them the pyramids of the Sun, Moon, Dragon, Earth, Love, and the 6th pyramid. We have a tumulus complex. In archaeology, tumulus is artificial conical hill. And we have huge network of underground tunnels. So far we've discovered 6 entrances. Most of you visited Ravne tunnels. In the first valley of the park we have Ravne 2 tunnels. Ravne 3 is in this hill, 300 meters to the south Ravne 4, on the hill behind Ravne 5 in Visoko KTK. So we have 6 entrances to prehistorical tunnels, and so far we cleared 3.1 kilometers. Original network, more than 100 kilometers of prehistorical tunnels. So far we've discovered entrances to 2 levels. One is 476 meters above the sea level, the other one is 5 meters less, 471. Most probably between 3 and 7 levels below us of those prehistorical tunnels. This is a huge complex under the ground and above the ground. The age of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, obtained through the radiocarbon dating, is 29,200 years. The height of the Great Pyramid of Egypt, 147 meters. Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, thanks to the LiDAR technology, 368 meters. By far the biggest, the largest on the planet. Orientation is very important. We know that pyramids in China are all oriented to the north, 250 of them. Indonesia, Gunung Padang in Western Java. Kocher Pyramid in Cambodia, north. Nubian pyramids in northern Sudan, north. All Egyptian pyramids, north. Peru, north. Cahokia pyramids in the US, north. The orientation of the Great Pyramid of Egypt, or as they call it, Khufu or Cheops, has an error from the perfect north, 0 degrees and 3 minutes. It's really perfect. Kefren, 0 degrees, 3 minutes. Mykerinos, 0 degrees, 18 minutes. Bent Pyramid in Dachshur, 0 degrees and 12 minutes. Red Pyramid in Dachshur, 0 degrees, 5 minutes. Well, Egyptologists, archaeologists, independent researchers have noticed that, but they don't know why such a perfect orientation. We are the first one who actually answered that question. When you hear archaeologists, this was for the ceremonial purposes, or this was for the religious purposes, then you should know that they have no clue why. Well, we do know. The orientation of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun to the perfect cosmic north, the error is 0 degrees, 0 minutes, and only 12 seconds, the most precise on the planet. Why? Well, archaeologists do not have an engineering mind. They do not understand energies.
I can't hear, so I'm going to go where I can hear. I don't want to sit up there and pretend.
All right. The brilliant mind of Nikola Tesla, 125 years back, he knew that everything is energy. He knew that our planet is a huge energy ball. When you have energy, you have energy flows. And the strongest energy flows on our planet is north-south and east-west. When you build a pyramid which is four-sided and you orient it perfectly to the cardinal points, north-south, east-west, you get energy flow within the pyramid. And if you imagine one triangle and circle within the triangle, that's how the energy moves within the pyramid. It goes, it hits 1/3 of the height, goes to 2/3, coming back to 1/3, and completing the circle, touching the base. So three-dimensionally, it looks like this. Interestingly enough, 3 chambers in the Great Pyramid of Egypt are exactly on the way of this energy flow. King's chamber, Queen's chamber, and unfinished chamber. Why? So they can be exposed to the pyramid energy. Why? Because this energy is beneficial. Why is it beneficial? Because it changes the molecular structure for the better. It preserves, it heals. So that's why the orientation is so important. We have realized that pyramids in Bosnia amplify the energy. Under the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, we have a huge iron plate. Iron generates electromagnetic field. How do we know that it amplifies it? Because we have measured at the base and at the top. At the top, the energy is 50 times stronger. Pyramid energy amplifier. Below the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, we have underground water flow, 21 meters below. Water moves, it releases negative ions. They are very beneficial for us. The pyramid amplifies the concentration of negative ions. How do we know? Because we measure the concentrations. In the tunnels we have the highest concentrations of negative ions in the world. In our homes, 20, 30, 50 negative ions per cubic centimeter. In our cities, 100. By the rivers, 500. On the mountains, 1,000. In the Bosnian pyramid tunnels, during the summertime, today, between 20,000 and 50,000. During the winter, this winter we had records with less people, 225,000 negative ions per cubic centimeter. There is no place in the world with such a high concentration. It doesn't surprise me. We have the biggest pyramids on the planet, negative ions. Now, there is a second water flow below the pyramid. Between two water flows, there is a charge. Charge generates voltage. Voltage generates electricity. The pyramid pulls this electricity through 7 levels of passageways. They are laid out like a spiral in the pyramid, and it goes to the very top as the energy beam, which we measure. We have had 5 independent international teams from Croatia, Serbia, Finland, Italy, and Germany. They came at different times, and they measured with their different equipment the same phenomena. Energy beam, 28 kilohertz in frequency. It starts at 4.5 meter diameter, expands to 20, 4.5, 20, 4.5, 20. It's continuous, because we'll be measuring it in summer, and spring, and fall, and winter. And as it moves away from the pyramid, it's getting stronger and stronger. In science, this phenomenon is called the scalar waves. Nikola Tesla was investigating these subtle energies 125 years ago. In the last 50 years, the Russian physicists, and they have concluded that the scalar waves move quicker than the speed of light. Therefore, they are ideal media for the communication, to transport the energy, to transport the information. The first potential purpose of pyramid energy is the communication. Second one, people go to the tunnels, they breathe very well. People who have respiratory problems, asthma for example, after few entrances, they don't need air pump, inhalators, no more. People who have high blood pressure, it gets normalized. People with a high sugar in the blood, it gets normalized. People with some very serious diseases, after few visits, they can see revolutionary progress in their health. Why is it happening? Well, what we do, we measure, we deal with the science. And we concluded we have a combination of 10 different energy phenomena. The first 5 is the absence of all harmful radiations. The first one is cosmic radiations. Today we are sitting here below the blue sky. We love it, it's romantic, especially in the evening, stars and moon. However, a lot of radiations coming our way. Some of them are harmful. In the tunnels, 20, 30 meters below the ground, no harmful radiations. No enemies for our body cells. Second one, natural radioactivity coming from the underground. Sometimes we walk the streets and we are not even aware that there is radioactivity coming from the under the ground. We use instruments called Geiger-Miller counter. The values are always dozens of times lower than the minimum allowed. No radioactivity no geopathogenic radiations coming from underground waters and so on, no signal for the mobile phones, no signal for the Wi-Fi. Absence of all harmful radiation. So for the first time in our lives, when we enter the tunnels, no enemies, and our body cells can start doing their job. What is their job? To fix the problems in our bodies, to start the regeneration process, to start the self-healing process. Somebody has sugar in the blood, somebody has cancer, somebody has mental problems, somebody has a problem in one of the 7 energy fields that are attached to our body. Regeneration and detoxification process. These are the first 5 energy phenomena. Second 5, we have the best frequency of electromagnetic field, 28 kilohertz, the best frequency of the ultrasound, also 28 kilohertz, the frequency of the levitation. Number 8, 7.83 hertz, that's so-called original Schumann resonance. Number 9, orgone energy, or chi, or prana, levels in the tunnels, much higher than anywhere else. And number 10, very high concentration of negative ions. When you put those 10 elements together, you are getting the safest place on the planet, and when it comes to the healing, the place that would we recommend to anyone. Second purpose of pyramid energy: healing, protection of what's the most precious to us, our health. Number 3, the water. We are finding 5 tunnels with the water, which we analyzed compared to our water. Of course, our city water is energetically dead. Why am I saying that? There is no viruses, bacteria, and fungi. Why? Because it's been treated with the fluoride, with the chloride. There are traces of heavy metals, there are traces of plastic in our city water because it goes through metal and plastic pipes. Our water energetically dead. The bottled water, even worse. 2 biggest world's bottling company, Coca-Cola and Pepsi-Cola, or European, Nestle, they use city water, already dead, adding aluminum. It hits directly to our brain cells, barium, chromium, and so on. Of course, we have to drink the water. So let's find the fresh water, not treated, which will help to raise our level of vibration. The water from the tunnels is not treated, but it has no viruses, bacteria, or any other microbes. Why? Because of the negative ions. They act as a barrier. The next thing, the water from the tunnels has excellent pH. The pH from 0 to 14, 7 is neutral. Below 7, acid, not good for us. Above 7, alkaline, ambient. But our blood is not 7. Our blood is 7.45. The water from the tunnels, 7.45. Ideal energetically. And as you could see on those posters in the tunnels, when you freeze our tunnel water at minus 21 degrees Celsius, you take a photo through the electronic microscope. It has hexagonal structure. Hexagon, the most powerful geometrical shape when it comes to the energies, and a beautiful crystal-like structure. It's a happy water, energetically alive, vibrates high. So our third conclusion: pyramid energy was used to improve the molecular structure of the water, which is the most important liquid in our life. Number 4, to improve the food from the seeds to the plant. Originally, radius of the pyramid energy was much bigger than today. The pyramids amplified the energy, natural sources of energy. But our planet, our mother planet, is so strong, like until 12,000 years back. After that, huge catastrophes reduced the ozone layer for 7 times, and it became much, much weaker. So when you amplify strong energy, it goes hundreds of kilometers around you. When you amplify weak energy, it stays within 50, 100 meters. So at one time, pyramid energy was used for the agriculture also, to improve our food. The next thing, the last 3 years we've been witnessing the huge manipulation on the global scale through the biological weaponry. And they forced the idea that the main word is a vaccine. However, whether you are vaccinated or not, you're going to get the viruses and bacteria. And then the question is of your immunity. Visiting the tunnels, pyramids, your immunity rises. As you are able to see, we do have Professor Korotkov's machine which measures our bioenergy field, popularly known as the auric field. In the last 8 years, we've measured more than 5,450 people before and after the tunnels. More than 90% is showing the improvement of our auric field. So pyramid energy improves our bioenergy field. It improves our chakras. Instead of being disbalanced, they come back to the balance and they open up. And they open, energy flows much better, affecting our physical property and our health. Also, the pyramid energy helps to preserve the atmosphere around us. And the one thing that we very often neglect, because in our society they don't teach us about the existence of our spiritual senses. Usually the word spirituality equals in many cases the word religion, religious. Religions are separate terms, and they show the organization, different religions. Faith is a different term also. Spirituality, it's very important to define it. For me, spirituality is the development of spiritual senses, so we can sense the world beyond the physical reality. What does that mean? Our physical reality we perceive through our 5 physical senses. We can hear, for example, with our ears. What we can hear is called sound. We know exactly where sound starts. It starts at 20 hertz, it goes up to 20 kilohertz. That's the sound. That's what we can hear. As we are getting older, we hear less and less. 19 kilohertz, 18, 16, 15, 10. And if we are married for 20, 30 years, we don't hear our wives at all. And they don't hear us also. They don't care what we say. Sound. Everything above 20 kilohertz is called the ultrasound. We don't hear it, but we can measure it. Some animals, cats for example, they can hear some frequencies of the ultrasound, 25, 30 kilohertz. But then everything above megahertz, gigahertz, we don't hear. We can measure it. Everything below 20 hertz, very deep sounds, they're called infrasounds, we don't hear. So really what we hear is just 1% of all the sounds in the universe. Imagine that we can hear maybe additional 10%. Our world would look completely different. Next, eyesight. We can see. That's another physical sense. What we can see, we have one poster in the magical forest where we saw that if the light goes through the prism, then we can see those 6 colors at different frequencies. The lowest frequency is the red color, rightfully. Red is always the lowest frequency. Red, our first chakra is red. So red is the lowest, and then you have orange, and yellow, and green, and blue, and finally indigo. Indigo is the highest. Of course, those 6 colors have been kidnapped nowadays with LGBTIQ movement. But those 6 colors are scientific terms. I mean, this is what we can see. We can see nothing above or below. So what we can see is 0.3% of the world around us. So more than 99% we cannot see. Imagine that we could see a little bit more, like cats. Then we would be able to see orbs, ghosts, extraterrestrials, all kinds of spiritual beings, which we cannot. So our physical senses are very, very limited. And even if we continue to smell, dogs can smell 5,000 times more than we do. Not 2 times, 5,000 times. That's why dogs can smell things 5 kilometers away. So, the point is, what we perceive as the physical reality is just a fraction of the real reality. That's the physical world based on physical senses. However, we do have much more potential than just the physical senses.